மறக்காம சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க. Thank you.
Showing his confidence that he's going to win. There is no defense. The move that Aronian played in this position is g4, securing the king side for an easy win on the queen side. So obviously he calculated that after king f7, king e2, king e7, king e6, king g3, king g6, king c4, a5, white is winning with the c3. So we're basically attacking the pawn. c5 is not good here, because we can just go king b5. Black must take the pawn. We take it back. And black is in Zugzwang here. They have to make some kind of a concession. So if they go c5, we just go king b5 in. So king d7, king c5, king c7, and then c4. Now black has to make a move with the king. And if they go king b7, we go king d6, f3, and this is completely lost because black is in Zugzwang and they have to lose material. If they go king d7, also losing. After c5 check, king moves away, and then king here, or just even f3, doesn't matter, completely losing position. Okay, so we can just see that white is easily outpowering black on the queen side. I showed you this to show why Aronian was so confident he's going to win. So let's go all the way back, and I put the question mark king f7, and let's try to figure out how black can survive in this endgame. This is a very precise endgame, as Vasily Smyslov said, almost like a study. I still will never call this a study because there are different ways of achieving a result in different moments. For example, right now here is going to be only move, but later on it will be like different type moves that would achieve the goal. But anyway, the whole point is this idea. Can you figure out from this point after move g4, how can black achieve a position or a fortress where white cannot win? I would like to give you here 4 minutes to think and calculate as deep as possible, and if you can see how black can make a draw, you're a very strong chess player. The difference between you and Vasily Smyslov, he didn't know yet. He had to convince himself that he has a way to survive, and he demonstrated, he did it, he achieved it. For you it's easier because you do know there is a way to survive and not to lose the game. Alright, so 4 minutes, black to move. Go ahead and pause the video now. Alright, I hope you spent good time. If you spent more than 4 minutes, good. If you spent less than 4 minutes and found all best moves, again, super amazing. You're really good chess player. So I'm sure you didn't let it just go and you still were trying to figure out some kind of a fortress here, playing a5 or playing c5 c4, or maybe playing a5 a4 or a6 c5. You were just trying to make sure that maybe somewhere black did have a way to secure this position on the queen side. But in fact, it's not there. Right here after g4 we have to play anti-positional move. We have to en passant the pawn on g3. Why do I call this anti-positional? Because now not only we still have a problems here on the queen side, we have problem here on the king side because we allowed white to create a pass pawn, something that you never want to do. And how this en passant helps you on the queen side. How does this all help you? This is the question. That's why it's very anti-positional. The answer lies in a very concrete calculation. And right now I'd like to show you the reason why this is not a study. In a study there will be just one precise way of doing it. And this position I took from Vasily Smyslov book, where they were praising this move, which is again very strong. You might consider en passant, but the whole point is to find this move. They're praising this move g4. I put exclamation mark for the idea. Again, another super anti-positional move. Why? Because it creates a protected pass pawn. Not only we helped to create a pass pawn for our opponent, but now we're helping to create for him a protected pass pawn here on h file. And somehow we are holding this endgame. This is truly amazing. But even before that, let's go ahead and take a look at other moves. There are two more moves that achieve the same goal, but they don't show that you understand the idea. So for example, if you said, oh, we go c5 here, it only works because we still want to create this g4 idea. For example, if white goes king e2, this is our last moment to play g4. We can no longer wait because king will just come here, and the game will be just over. So we have to play g4 and again get to the same position we want to get. Now, what if white would play here, for example, g4 and prevent black from this g4? In that case, we're just in time to be on c6. So we play king f7, king e2, king e6, king d3, king d6, king here, and say a6 or king c6, a6. Now the attempt to play c3, we just take it. If pawn takes it, and we just go king c6. Right on time. This position is drawn. b4, we take. If king takes, we have outside pass pawn, so takes here. And I'm sure king b6 is safe here because of king d5. Black will be even faster here to promote a5. If h4, we just take and promote this pawn. If king takes g5, a4, you can see that black promotes faster. They only have 3 moves to promote. Didn't calculate if king d6 is good in this position. b5, probably good as well. a5, and maybe now we are winning for black because of king b3, king c5, king a4, king b6, and black is winning. So white cannot push at all. I think they're just losing after a5. Although they should push. There is a draw. King c6 and b7. And after take king b5. And black should push here and do the opposition. Draw. So it's all drawn. Let's go back. We just calculated that g4 doesn't work for white. So it shows that black could delay and play c5 or play even a6. And again, the same idea works here, that there's no way to win for white. Let's go back. But of course I like g4 more because it immediately shows the idea that black got the point. It also allows maybe white to make some mistakes. But of course white should try h4. If h takes g4, we just go king g6, king f2, king g5, king f3, and as you can see here, black has more moves to waste. For example, c5. If c3, probably easiest is a6. If here, here. And we're just gonna take this pawn, and that will be at least draw for black. Probably we could also take and make attempt to draw here, but this is already so difficult because if a5, then white goes c4. And if a6, then b4. The only question is, can really, for example, after a5, c4, black lose this? I mean, with this such a bad pawn, I can just stay. And I still don't see how black will lose this position. Yeah, this is for sure a draw also. So whatever black do, it's so easy for them to draw. So taking is not an option for white. They should play h4. And how is black can possibly make a draw here? If you haven't figured this one out yet, this would be a very, very good moment for you to pause the video, spend 2-3 minutes, and figure out the fortress black should set up to be able to hold this endgame. So go ahead and pause the video now. Alright, so if you haven't paused the video, it means you figured this out, so we're just gonna continue. c5. Move order is not that important, but it just shows that we know what we're doing. King e2, king h7. We just wait. It's kind of ridiculous, but we just wait. King d3, king h6. We're actually never worried here to lose on the queen side because white can never go and take our pawns. If such an attempt happens like king c4, black is now winning the endgame with f5. It's a very weird. So obviously if take, we just push the pawn and white king not in time to stop the g pawn. For example, if take, just g3 and game over. And if king tries to go back and catch, we will never play f3, we just take, and that's a queen. So never they can take on c5. If they go king d5, we again will play f4. And after take, we will very quickly promote our pawn. And white is just tempo behind. Let's go back. So finally we're going to take and see what happens there. We of course play e4. So white found themselves in a very weird spot where they cannot get to the pawn or take the pawn. But at the same time, black pawn cannot push itself because king will go to d3. So it will be a matter of the Zugzwang then. And it seems like black has many moves to spare, go back and forth, while white doesn't have many moves. The best attempt for them is to probably play c3, and it's very important to find only good move in this position is a5. And if they take, we just take with this pawn, creating again unreachable square for white king. They would have to give you some pawns, and we just go and collect those pawns until white king makes a move. And the good thing for us that after king d5 we push e3. At the time you come and support the pawn, black pawn will promote with check. f7 and check. h5 never helps, we can just take f7 and this should be very easy win. Alright, let's go back. So never white king can go to c4 and threaten our pawns. That is the idea. What they can do, let's say they play c3 and we absolutely have to play a5 here and have this setup where we can take with ab pawn. So taking with ab, and white cannot play here king c4. Again, same way, f5 just wins. And if now they change their mind and play king d3, position after f4 is winning. If white kings, for example, go to e2, we take the pawn, king f1, we go king h5, king g2 and take, absolutely winning position. And if they take the pawn, we take back. g3 should work too in this position, but this is simply, we just take king e2, king h5, e5, and king g6. Here we have a box rule that if there's only two files between the pawns and the pawns are not touching the edge of the promotion, in this case this pawn is not touching the promotion square, this square. This pawn would be here and the black king would be on f7 or g7, then white wins. But here, in this position, black is winning because we're just going to play king f5 and grab this pawn instead. So whatever white do, if they wait, we just come here, h5, and we just collect the pawns and win the game. Again, white cannot attempt to win. Any attempt is very punishable. So what they should do, they should sit here with the king, and black king will also sit in these squares. And this is just a draw. A very unique, a very rare setup, pawn structure that allows black to hold on into this endgame, which seems like completely lost. But again, rule of the breakthrough helps us here to create a threat. All right, so let's go back all the way. Again, after g4, Aronin was very happy, showing that he's winning, but make sure you don't believe your opponents by their body language. Make sure you calculate everything and see if you have resources. Basically, don't give up. In each endgame, you have to calculate precisely, especially when you're feeling like losing. There, most of the time, something hidden. How we find moves like h takes g3 is basically when you already calculated everything normal and normal was actually just to go and try to hold in this position, you have to just switch your brain and start looking at the moves that are anti-positional or looking bad or don't make sense. We just have to remove this barrier from our brain that does not allow us to calculate this weird stuff. I test this position many times on my students, and just nobody wants to do this because they all understand that we're creating a pass pawn, and especially play something like this to create a protected pass pawn. But again, there are exemptions from the rules, and precise deep calculation will help us save some games. Alright guys, so we are done with today's lesson. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
மறக்காம சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க.